So you guys may or may not have already seen this recipe on the Tasty channel a couple of times. I did it behind the scenes of it. Yikes. But I really want to give you guys more instructions and more of a story on how to make this happen. So the inspiration for this recipe comes from a lot of New York restaurants were serving it at the time. It was pretty popular. It was all over Instagram, and I was like, man, I want to figure out how to do that. For this recipe, you actually do not want to use milk chocolate. You want to use good chocolate because you want it to be firm, you want it to be snappy. You don't want any of those extra sugars or other things they put into candy bar that can help kind of make the ball a little soft. So you really want to get nice chocolate for this. You want to melt your chocolate, but you do not want to overheat it. It'll cause it to coagulate. So the most important thing is that you need to find the right containers or molds for the recipe. I use refillable ornaments that I just got online. You can find them on Amazon. Basically, they're these clear plastic ball ornaments, and depending on how big you want the chocolate ball to be, they can be anywhere from 4 inches in diameter to around 8 inches. You really just, need to figure out what size you're gonna make and who you're making it for. That's probably the most important thing, and make sure you get multiple because you're gonna maybe crack some of the balls. And then the trick is to pour that amount of chocolate into the ornament, close it really tight, and you really just wanna hold it and press it so you do not let any of the chocolate escape from the edges, and just slowly rotate it. But you don't want to move too slow. Sometimes what happens is that if you rotate it and it doesn't coat the whole ball, it'll cool down before it even coats the whole thing, and it's just kind of hard. So you might just be kind of doing this weird, ballerina dance where you hold it and you look at it, if you watch the Behind Tasty, I do this 300 times. So you kind of have to do that and watch it and kind of tap it a little bit to get it into the right spots. After that, they go in the freezer, and when they go in the freezer, you want to make sure that they're level, that they won't just roll around everywhere, and every 2 minutes or so until they're set, you want to actually check them. Make I would say 4 to 6 of the chocolate balls, put them in the freezer, expect some of them to break because you really just need one. And the key to opening it is to really just make sure that at first you use your hands to kind of hold it and warm it a little bit. So you kind of see this huge thing. Sometimes it'll crack, sometimes it won't. It really is a game of luck. We're putting it on a heated sort of bowl to kind of rub so that the chocolate melts, and you kind of get this hole for it to sit and stand on to fill it with anything you want. After that, you kind of put whatever it is on the plate. The key here is to keep the plate, the ball, and anything cold. So if you're using ice cream, keep it in the freezer until the last second. If you're using berries, keep them in the fridge. If you're using a brownie or a cake, also keep it in the freezer. Keep your plate in the freezer. You do not want the ball to melt before anything happens. Once you take that out, you kind of assemble one brownie or a cake. You kind of put some berries around it. I like strawberries, I like blueberries. You can fill it with whatever you want, honestly. And you kind of put the ice cream scoop on top of that, and then you put the ball, you kind of want to snuggle it over the sides. If it's not fitting, you can either, shave off some more chocolate, take out some of the berries. You just want to make sure that when the ball is on the plate, it looks like nothing is underneath it. It's just a chocolate ball under a plate, because that's the surprise. Don't worry if there's little cracks between the plate and the ball itself. Just run a ring of berries around it. It covers up most of the problems. That's what I pretty much did. And that is your chocolate ball that is almost ready to serve. The last and final bit is going to be the really hot ganache that kind of goes on it and turns it from chocolate ball to magic chocolate ball. So the chocolate ganache is just even parts milk and cream. You are pretty much ready to serve. So what you'll do is you'll serve the dessert to whoever you're making it for and pour it in a circular motion over the top, and then boom, that's it from there. You got money raining everywhere, horns, fanfares playing. What actually happens is that the chocolate is going to melt the ball and cause a waterfall effect, where first it'll make a little bit of a hole where it first melts, and then the entire thing should theoretically crumble and collapse in a really beautiful melty way, and the walls will fall away, revealing every single beautiful thing that you put inside. Hopefully it's colorful berries with ice cream and cake. Maybe it's a wedding ring. I don't know. Is that how I'm gonna propose? Maybe. Don't worry about it. If my future fiance is watching out there, I should probably change up the method, huh? 5-layer brownie cheesecake was probably one of my greatest architectural feats, if I would say so myself. I was actually studying engineering in college. Not really a good student, to be honest, but one thing that I definitely did pick up was the ability of how to approach a problem and how to look at it from certain angles, especially when things don't exist. A lot of times we are asked to do hypothetical questions like, if you wanted to accomplish this, how would you go about achieving it? And I learned that the easiest way is to break down the problem into its parts and kind of almost work backwards. Cookie dough, Oreos, and brownies are a very common combination, and I wanted to take that further. I really wanted to turn the flavor profile of like a triple stacked brownie into something else. I wanted to turn it into more of like this spectacle dessert that you could really wow everybody at a party with, and I just absolutely love layers and clean layers, so that was something that I set out to do, was to turn a triple decker brownie into a cheesecake. The challenge with this recipe is that all of these elements all bake at different times, different temperatures, and have different thicknesses. I kind of wanted to go after the vibe of when you go to Cheesecake Factory and they set down this slice of this beautifully cut and assembled cheesecake. I really didn't know how this was gonna go until I made it, and I had to do a lot of pre-planning and thinking and being able to try to predict how the food would behave in a way that I had never done before. I was hoping that the brownie batter would not get dry. I guess that the cream cheese and the mixture would give the brownie moisture. It was really gratifying to pull something like this off, especially when you have never really done this before. I guess I felt really happy and relieved that it actually worked. After the brownie and cheesecake were set, that's when I put the Oreos and the cookie dough on top. I don't try to do recipes a lot of times because I think I really enjoy the challenge of getting it right on the first or the second try. Kind of nerve-wracking to cut it open because you really don't know how it's going to turn out until you actually slice it open and see the layers, and to my luck it really worked out well. I was able to see all 4 elements in their entirety. I love to spend time just thinking about the food and really just trying to guess and predict how food is going to behave, and sometimes I really just sit down and write things down and try to map out or draw out how certain foods will look before and after. And so for this one, I thought about it a lot and made some decisions, and that's the sort of approach that I like to take because there's something really cool about trying something that's completely new and then somehow landing it on the first try. So in my video, I combined brownies, Oreos, cookie dough, and cheesecake. What combination of desserts do you want me to attempt next? Try to come up with an idea for a recipe. What I really want to do is be able to make people go like, wow, and really show them something that they are familiar with, but maybe in a new way, or maybe something that is new to them, but in a familiar way. It's always about taking an element of something that people know, twisting it and making it cooler, making it different, combining it with other things. The end result is to make people go, wow. That's sort of usually the approach I take when I want to really showcase food to people in a cool way. So for the 8 desserts in one sheet pan, it kind of came from a time where it was the holidays. I had seen a lot of videos kind of pop up around like, desserts and baking and pie, and Food Network actually released this one video that was pretty cool. It was like 4 pies baked in the same sheet pan, and to myself I was like, wow, like that's really smart, but can I take it even a level further? I know that pie is just one dessert. There are a lot of desserts out there and a lot of baked goods that people like to eat. My hunch was that around Christmas time, around the holidays, usually at these potlucks or parties, there would be a wide spread of desserts, ranging from cookies to brownies to cheesecakes to pies. I think this crazy idea came about because in my head I was like, man, what happens if you just kind of put all those desserts together? Like, is there a way to take every single dessert that everybody loves and turn it into just one thing? I think that's kind of how the idea was born. Is I basically thought of what can I use to serve this giant dessert, and how do I make sure that everybody gets a piece they want? Because sometimes when you bring a dessert to a party, not everybody likes brownies, not everybody likes cheesecakes, but is there a way to make sure that no matter who you are at the party, you're gonna have one piece that's gonna speak to you? And that's how I sort of designed this 8 desserts in one sheet pan. I wanted to sort of build it in a way where if you cut it in the precise manner, you would end up with just like a bunch of different flavors. You wouldn't really cut it just along where the flavors met, but you'd be able to get pieces or bars that would have 2 flavors, 3 flavors, and the golden crown is when you get that piece with all 4 flavors in them. The challenge with designing this was that no matter what piece you get, the flavor should still go together. So you kind of have to play this weird like math mix and match game of like, do these two flavors go together? Okay, if this goes together with this, then this must be next to here. It was a lot of me, drawing things on a piece of paper and crumpling it up like you do in the movies and throwing it in the trash can, kind of restarting. And after a lot of trial and error, I managed to get a certain layout of which desserts should go in which area in the pan, so that no matter which piece you got, it would always taste great. I'm super, super proud of this dish, and I'd love if you would all make it this year. A lot of people are intimidated by it and aren't sure if all the desserts would bake together. But actually, I was able to make it on my first try, and I really think you could too. And just really customize it how you want. If you do make it, hit me up, slide in my DMs, throw me a little pic. Oh God, that sounds so weird. If you do end up making it, I wanna see how you customize it. Hit me up, send me a DM, show me what you got. Oh yes! Whew.